I was watching a clip this morning of CNN, well, actually a CNN reporter interviewing Elon Musk. I'm not exactly sure how long ago this was. It could have had to, I think it was fairly recently because it popped up in my feeds, but he starts off the interview by mentioning the fact that he tweeted something about George Soros hating humanity, that kind of thing. He says, "Why do you do this?" And he said, "Well, freedom of speech." And he said, "I understand that you have freedom of speech, but why would you say something like this when some of your shareholders, Tesla shareholders, that they probably don't agree with this?" And he thought for a minute, Elon did, and he said, "I'm just going to let you listen to it, okay? And then I'll comment back in on it."
Talk a bit about your tweets, because it comes up a lot. Even today, it came up in anticipation of this. I mean, you do some tweets that seem to be, or at least give support to some who would call others conspiracy theories.
Well, yes, but I mean, honestly, some of these conspiracy theories have turned out to be true.
Which ones?
Well, like the Hunter Biden laptop.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was a pretty big deal. There was Twitter and others engaged in active suppression of information that was relevant to the public. That's a terrible thing that happened. That's election interference.
But how do you make a choice? You don't see. I mean, in terms of when you're going to engage. I mean, for example, even today, Elon, you tweeted this thing about George Soros. Well, I'm looking for it because I want to make sure I quote it properly. But I mean, you know what you wrote. But you basically.
It reminds me of Magneto. It's just like, calm down, people. This is not like made a federal case out of it.
You also you said he wants to erode the very fabric of civilization, and Soros hates humanity. Like, when you do something like that, do you?
Yeah, I think that's true. That's my opinion.
Okay, but why share it? Why share it? Especially because, why share it when people who buy Teslas may not agree with you, advertisers on Twitter may not agree with you? Why not just say, hey, I think this. You can tell me. We can talk about it over there. You can tell your friends. But why share it widely?
I mean, this is freedom of speech. I'm allowed to say what I want.
You absolutely are. But I'm trying to understand why you do, because you have to know it's got it puts you in the middle of the partisan divide in the country. It makes you a lightning rod for criticism. I mean, do you like that? People today saying he's an anti-Semite. I don't think you are.
No, I'm definitely. I'm like a pro-Semite, if anything.
I believe that probably is the case.
Yes.
But why would you even introduce the idea then that would be the case?
I mean, look, we don't want to make this a George Soros interview.
No, God, no. I don't want to at all. But what I'm trying. Even came up though in the annual meeting. I mean, do your tweets hurt the company? Are there Tesla owners who say, I don't agree with his political position and I know it because he shares so much of it? Or are there advertisers on Twitter that Linda Yaccarino will come and say, you got to stop, man. I can't get these ads because of some of the things you tweet.
I'm reminded of the scene in The Princess Bride. Great movie.
Great movie.
Where he confronts the person who killed his father. And he says, offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
Okay. But I mean, when you link to somebody who's talking about the guy who killed children in a mall in Allen, Texas, and you say something like it might be a bad psyop. I'm not quite sure what you meant, but.
Oh, in that particular case, there was somehow that's not that that obviously people were killed, but it was, I think, incorrectly ascribed to be a white supremacist action, and the evidence for that was some obscure Russian website that no one's ever heard of, that had no followers. And the company that found this is Bellingcat.
Right.
And do you know what Bellingcat does? PsyOps.
Right. I couldn't really even follow exactly what it was you were trying to express there, so that's in part why I was curious.
I'm saying that I thought the ascribing it to white supremacy was bullshit.
Okay.
And that the information for that came from an obscure Russian website and was somehow magically found by Bellingcat, which is a company that does PsyOps.
And there's no proof, by the way, that he was not.
There's no. I would say that there's no proof that he is.
And that's a debate you want to get into on Twitter?
Yes. Because we should not be ascribing things to white supremacy if it's false.
But Elon Musk had a good response there, a really good response there. He said, you can't pay me money, you can't offer me power, and we shouldn't be equating white supremacy with a crime without evidence, especially not when coming from a corporation who specializes in PsyOps. That's what they do. Almost for certain that was not white supremacist. So many crimes get equated to white supremacists, and almost all white supremacists in America that are active are government officials, for certain. I guess saying government officials isn't necessarily right, but they're government informants for certain. The left has been so effective at using justice against us because mankind, humanity, loves justice. We crave it. There's so many things because the world isn't just. So there's so many things in our lives that are not just, that when we see someone who's unjustly treated, we want justice. It raises something within us. And then along with that is the virtue signaling. And I think it would be much better for the country if more people understood what virtue signaling actually is. Pretending to be moral without doing the work. To be moral. Moral people, they don't have to feel threatened. They don't have to pretend to be moral. They don't have to pretend moral outrage because they already have it. And it's just naturally they don't. People who aren't moral or who have they may even be fairly moral, but they're not certain if they are more touchy on it. And that's a broad spectrum, it varies from people who are absolutely not moral to some who are a little less moral. But it's amazing that the left protects George Soros. There's nothing that will ostracize you more than criticizing Jews or Judaism or Israel. That's just a given. You cannot do that and be socially accepted. Yet, George Soros says he's Jewish, and he also says he helped the Nazis round them up and confiscate their property and harm them. And then in 1990, this is a 1992 interview I'm referring to, and then when they ask him, do you regret this? He says, no, this was the best time of my life. But because he gives them money, they overlook it. The left does it constantly, overlooks anything. Oh, and another thing Elon Musk said that I'd like to touch on is he said, the guy brought up, he said, you commented about this shooting in Texas. This guy at a mall shot kids, and he said, you brought that up, and he said PSYOP. And said, yeah, because this website that found the reference to this guy who did the shooting to be a white supremacist is a PSYOP company, he said. It's kind of strange, right? And that's what they do is PSYOPs, and they're the ones who found this obscure website somewhere where this guy had commented on that he's a white supremacist. He said, there's no proof, right, that he wasn't a white supremacist? He said, no, but there's no proof that he was a white supremacist. And I don't believe we should be going around equating things to white supremacy without proof. And, that's their weapon. That's the weapon the left has been using to sledgehammer people into submission. Using half-truths to weaponize wedge issues against Americans is the way the left operates. And it's hard for some people to understand that even though there's a little truth in some of these wedge issues, that they really don't need to be promoted. For example, climate change. Is there something like climate change? Has it happened? I mean, do humans have an effect? You know, yeah, maybe, who knows? That's not the point. The point is what they're pushing about climate change. They have no intentions of stopping it or using this knowledge in any way to help humanity. They're using climate change as a weapon against us because the way that they're promoting it, they do nothing to help climate change. They fly their jets, they do whatever. They expect us to change our ways, and by so doing, make them rich. So the end result to this climate change agenda is the elites becoming richer and we becoming poorer, and nothing happens to climate change. It doesn't change a thing. One of the main reasons we know they're going to do nothing about climate change is because if they really cared about climate change, if they wanted to stop pollution in any way or greenhouse gases or whatever, they wouldn't shut down the Alaska pipeline. That's the single most, it's the greenest way to transport energy. The fuel flows from Alaska to the Gulf of Mexico with zero effect on the environment. But you're going to shut that down and you transport that by truck, train, ship. There you go. You're creating a bigger problem. So they talk out of the side of their neck. They're two-faced. They say they care about climate change, but they're just using it as a weapon to make us weaker and them stronger. But I think Musk has done a tremendous job. I think Musk is the most important person in the world today. Is he good? I don't know. Sometimes you can't see the devil with his hand on your shoulder. So far, he's proven to be a hell of a lot better than the alternative. Thanks for watching, guys.